If we don't hurry, we'll be late for work, or worse yet, show up without pants. We dream up our thoughts on where our conscious minds go when our brain needs a rest. Today on Talkily. Hey everyone, this is AWC. I'm here today with Cody.
Hey.
With Mel.
Hi.
And with Laura.
Hello.
And today we're talking about dreams. I don't know about you, but I mean, I've had many of those recurring dreams. You know, the ones where you look in the mirror and you don't have teeth. The ones where you go to school and you haven't been in high school for 20 years yet. You know, you're not wearing any pants for some reason, or you're ill prepared for a test. I've had dreams where I'm being chased.
Yeah, I've had dreams where I'm being chased as well. It's kind of a reoccurring theme for me, but all these different settings. Yeah, I'll just be usually trapped in a building. It's often kind of a version of my old house, except it usually kind of expands in the dream and gets much bigger. Or some sort of generic kind of public building like a hospital or a school or something. And it will end up having a lot of different levels that I'll have to, run up back staircases and then down to the basement, and there'll be secret passages, and like I'm either being held hostage or kidnapped or something. I don't know. Very, very odd. And usually it ends when I end up finding a way out of the house. Yeah,
I've had dreams like that too. Except I don't know. For me, like dreams in which I'm being chased or I'm chasing someone, I find those dreams very exciting. Maybe I'm just weird. I love that adrenaline rush. There are the times when I'm having what I would consider nightmares, other than I guess I'm having a night terror and I don't even realize it. But the nightmares I have are the ones where loved ones are being injured or they're in danger. Actually, one of the recurring dreams I have is something similar, very similar to what you're talking about. Except I'm not really being chased. I'm in a basement, and it's always a basement. And I'm always like exploring, and I always find like another room. And it's like, where did this room come from? So I go in and I explore. And then I continue on going deeper and deeper. And it's like every time I have this dream, I remember almost the last time I had this experience. And it's like, how far do I go down these weird halls? And can I trace my way back?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I often kind of have kind of a bit of a deja vu in the dream as well when I'm having these reoccurring dreams. And when I'm running from people upstairs and stuff, but often when you get in the basement, I've found secret hidden rooms and things too, and secret passages, usually in the basement. Maybe there's some sort of deep symbolism in that. I don't know what it is.
There are secrets in your unconscious mind. Delve deeper.
Or your basement.
Your basement, yes.
I mean, there could be.
Yeah, sometimes I'm walking and there's this feeling of dread, like I'm being watched or something's looking at me or something's going to get me if I go too far in, So sometimes, when I dream, before I go to bed, I try and keep a dream journal. I have a dream. I record like my dreams. Not record the dreams, but I recount my dreams when I wake up the next morning because I like to try and lucid dream. Mm-hmm. And I have like everyone's got a token, or if they recommend trying to do an action, and then you want to try and repeat that action within the dream in order to activate the lucid dreaming. And for me, I look at my ring and I touch it and I know the feel of it. And just that action and I just do this throughout the day, 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I do it more because I'm actively trying to remember to do it. But I've been able to, like, in a dream, like, recall that I'm in a dream, trying to lucid dream. Like, I'll look at my hand and it's like this aha moment. I'm like, yes, I did it. I remember to look at my hand. I can lucid dream, and I wake up.
Yeah. That's actually super common. I've tried to get myself to consistently lucid dream like countless times over the years. Never works out long term. That is one of the first steps to get to. And then the next step from that is apparently when you realize you're in a dream, that's a really big sign for your body that it's actually time to wake up, which is great. So you have to catch yourself in that thought and then like focus on some like weird element in the dream to keep your brain grounded in it. And then you can kind of manage to stay in it more. I've never consciously managed to get to that stage. The few times I've really lucid dreamed have been just completely random.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. Like the
Yeah.
only like in the last 2 years, I've been able to lucid dream maybe once, maybe twice, once for sure that I can remember, and I wasn't trying. I didn't look at my hand. It just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one, you know those dreams where you're, I don't know if anyone else's starts like this, but like you'll be falling and you'll hit the ground and you'll like startle and you'll go up or you'll wake up. For me, those dreams are always like I'm walking down the icy streets and I slip and my back hits the ground and then I wake up. The first real lucid dream I've ever had was I hit the ground and the ground caved out from under me and I'm falling to the earth from the stratosphere towards this like coral reef type of area, which incidentally is also the location of my second lucid dream. I'll get to that later. I just realized I just made that connection.
So apparently you just have to get to this lucid dream world.
Well, so okay, before I get more into this story, I've noticed my brain comes up with these really fantastic locations, but it's got this own world built like as its own like dreamscape. And these I don't have a lot of similar reoccurring dreams, but I have the same locations. It's like if my brain needs a beach, it's this beach. If my brain needs a building, it's this building.
Yeah, I think what they say is that whenever you're dreaming, whenever you see faces or you're seeing places, it's because your mind is like pulling from real world situation, and then it's like almost this thing where it's pulling from these similar images. So even if it's not the exact same beach, the exact same set of rooms, it's drawing from the same like
pool.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I'm falling towards this reef. And I don't know if I can describe it using a video game as reference. If we're throwing up,
I think that's allowed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's allowed.
If anyone looks up Monster Hunter World, there's a level called the Coral Highlands, where it looks like an underwater coral reef minus the water. Like all the fish and everything are just these swimming organisms or flying organisms, I should say. But yeah, I'm falling towards this, freaking out, and then I realize about halfway down that like this isn't real, is it? And I just flip myself around in the sky. So I land feet first, crouch up like I'm building up power, and then just take off like a jet. And I spent the rest of the night just flying around my own little dream like world. It was great. The other time I lucid dreamed was last year, where the dream itself, I didn't lucid dream at all. It was right as as the dream was ending, I was on this same beach surrounded by a bunch of just dream people. Like they weren't anyone I knew. They were just like people. And we were building this robot. And then all of a sudden this like ringing like tore out across the sky. And all of us stop and we're just like looking around and we're like, what is going on? And then I'm like, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm dreaming. That's my alarm clock. And then one of the dream people, they're like, oh, yeah, no, that makes, because we're like robot. and then I woke up.
Cool.
Sometimes I'll be dreaming, and I won't immediately wake up when I do my lucid dream thing. But like I'll run around and I'll try and fly because that's usually the first thing I try and do.
Right. Yeah.
And it never happens.
No.
You know, and it's like, why won't this work? You know, or if I'm in a firefight with someone, I often will. It was only once where I've actually been able to actually use a firearm. The rest of the times, I'm always like pointing and like going bang, 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 bang with my finger.
Yeah. So one other thing that's super common, because you're a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
For gamers, they will a lot of times have a really easy time taking control of just themselves in the dream and no one else. So you're a character in your world, but you don't get the physics.
Wait. So are you saying am I an NPC?
You're basically an NPC in your own brain.
Well, I hope I'm not an escort mission. For those of you who don't know, when you're controlling someone in the game and you have to escort a non-playable character, it usually doesn't go very well because that character doesn't do what you need them to do, or they get killed and they're not supposed to die. They go places where you don't want them to go.
Just useless.
Yeah. There's some pretty famous ones out there, but that's a whole other podcast.
That's another, I too have kind of, just to tackle a slight bit on the lucid dream thing. I have lucid dreamed. There's been a few times in my life where I have sporadically tried to like keep a dream journal and try to lucid dream. Like Cody, it hasn't really ever gone well, and I just kind of give up usually for several years. But when it has happened, it's been very, like you said, very sporadic, just random. And the only one I really remember, I think the first time it ever happened was a flying dream, and I got to fly around a city world that was sort of like our city, not quite, but it was fun. There was a lot of flying. It worked.
Yeah, and they say
But,
that sometimes the person dreaming doesn't even realize they're dreaming. They just think they're watching 3 other people talk at a podcast, until they all look at the person with the pink headphones.
I have had a couple lucid dreaming things. Primarily, I do something that I'm sure has a different name, but I call sleep programming. So when I'm settling in for the night, I sort of determine what I'm going to at least initially start dreaming about, and then I sort of walk myself through it. And it's sort of almost like a meditative exercise where you say, I'm in a meadow and there's a lovely breeze and it smells like wildflowers, and there's this grass that is soft but prickly, and there's a bird, and da 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 da, and then you go back and you go, I'm in a meadow, and there's this soft breeze,
Okay.
and then eventually that sort of trickles off almost like an ellipses, and you're now in the dream.
Interesting.
And it's really lovely.
Sounds almost like a guided meditation, only you're kind of like creating one in your mind and trying to like make your mind go there. It's very interesting. Yeah.
I didn't do a lot of babysitting as a teenager, but there was one client that I had who she always had trouble getting to sleep. So when it was bedtime for her, I would tuck her in and I'd ask, where do you want to start your dream? And I would walk her through a meditation exercise.
Oh, nice.
And I actually ran into her a few years ago, and she's like, "You remember when you used to?
Remember when you used to do that thing?"
Let's be honest, you were training a super spy, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Some subliminal messaging.
All Laura has to do is say a secret word, and we turn into robots.
Yeah.
Meep, boop, boop.
Didn't work on Mel's.
Her mind is too strong.
Wow, that is.
I was gonna say, wow.
Jeez.
No, I feel like I have different programming.
Girl,
Yeah,
you
we'll
must be
see.
dreaming.
But yeah, no, I mean, I certainly have had my fair share of like unpleasant dreams. I have a reoccurring stress dream that I get before sort of any major like presentations. I haven't had this in quite a while, but throughout high school before any sort of major exam, it has a sort of Sisyphusian overtones where I'm in Andy Warhol's workshop and I'm having to stack the Campbell's soup cans. And I almost get to the top, and then something happens. I like have a spasm, or for no particular reason, the entire thing just collapses. And Andy Warhol starts screaming at me. And if you've ever seen Andy Warhol screaming at you, it is freaking terrifying.
Well, I can't say I ever have had Andy Warhol scream at me, Laura. That's interesting.
Yeah, for me, like I suffer from night terrors. I don't think they're as serious as night terrors that some other people experience, because from what I've seen and I've read, both in researching this show today and just for my own benefit to see, what are some ways to, prevent me from waking up in the middle of the night screaming and waking my wife. I mean, sometimes I don't even remember having these episodes. She just kind of calms me back to sleep. But there are other times too where it's almost like a weird I have these weird lucid dreams where I'm half awake and I'm half asleep. But there's no, there's a mix of reality and fantasy. There was one time when I was sleeping and I looked up and I thought there was it was a very vivid image of this person without skin just dropping down on me. A few nights ago, I was drifting off to sleep, and I fell asleep, but I must have, because it was like maybe 1:30 when I actually fell asleep, and then after this episode I looked at the time, it was like 4 or something like that. But yeah, I woke up and I looked outside and I thought we have a tree outside our bedroom window. I thought it was on fire, and I'm like looking and just examining what's going on out there. What's this bright light? And then I start worrying about space aliens coming to get me. So I have these weird lucid weird very vivid dreams like that, and other times I'll just find out the next day that I was having like I was talking in my sleep. I was, I just suddenly screamed out at some point, and then that was it. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Do you also have a different dreamscape color palette?
Oh,
Not that I've noticed. Not really.
No, mine's just very, very vivid. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I would say I have a lot of browns, a lot of greens. I never actually thought about that before until now. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I the reason I ask is because some of my most memorable dreams almost have this like, I mean, I've never done acid, but it's sort of like how you imagine like an acid trip where like these really saturated, almost like sickening colors. There was one that I had it was sort of like a Wizard of Oz-esque landscape, but it had this super saturated, very, what I'm going to call 70s, 60s, 70s color palette. And there were even colors that I have never ever remotely seen before in my in my real life, and like I couldn't even quite describe them to you,
right?
Because it was like in my mind's eye, I'm like, well, it's sort of like kind of in the yellow family, vaguely, but it's something else. Like it's something entirely not new necessarily, but something that I've conjured up within me.
The dream color that you're seeing is Dream Laura. Dream Laura yellow. Also with variations of Dream Laura mustard. Yeah,
yes.
And Dream Laura. No, just those two.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever looked in a mirror in a dream? Because every time I look in a mirror in a dream, like, I usually have like these boils and I'm pimply and, or it's just figured. I was reading online and apparently that's very common too. If you look at yourself in a mirror where you have like these weird disfigurements, or if you look really hard at a person, like really to concentrate on them, like you'll notice like even if like you're dreaming and it's like, oh, I'm here with my friend Cody. But then if you actually look over at Cody, or Dream Cody, sorry, not you. And look over a Dream
you, Cody. Dream Cody.
Dream Cody. He'll be like, the person will look, at first maybe they'll look like Dream Cody or real Cody. But then Dream Cody will kind of like morph a little bit, where you look away and you come back, and suddenly it's like a Dream Cody, like a Cody from an alternate dimension.
I hate that guy.
Well, you're much nicer than he is.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
I've never looked at myself in a mirror in a dream. I have had a lot of like third person dreams though, and yeah, a lot of times that's when I get the body horror dreams. I have noticed that though, where like the people's faces are just wrong. A lot of times for me when that happens, the more I focus on someone's face, the less it looks like a face and more it looks like a weird, like a broken mirror kind of a thing.
It's like a portal where like as soon as I start to look at someone, it's almost like I get sucked through their eyes and move on to like a different unit in the dream.
Interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry to go on.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Tell us about your body horror dreams.
Oh yeah. No, I had one where I won't get really into it, but because you had mentioned in the intro, like teeth dreams.
Yeah.
I had one where like there was this virus throughout on the planet where if you got it, your teeth would grow in and then out the back of your neck. That one stuck with me for a while.
I would say so. Did you go to the dentist after that?
No.
No.
Maybe you should.
Never mind.
I was going to ask, did it correspond to some of the other issues that?
Oh no, this was years ago.
Okay, this is years ago. Okay, this is a foretelling.
Yeah. Well, So the tooth dream happened like back in high school. And yeah, maybe it was a foretelling. I don't know. Earlier this year, I had some like weird jaw problems that are apparently, they're not common, but they're only uncommon. It's just no one talks about them.
Oh, okay.
It was weird. Yeah.
It's weird because sometimes when you have a dream, you dream about somebody and then you will see that somebody a few days later, or a situation will happen and it's like, It seems so. Oh, I think I dreamt that. And I think part of it is just partial deja vu, or maybe your brain at the moment of deja vu, and I dreamt this not so long ago. It's like it has this weird feeling of deja vu, and it needs to connect something. So you're like, oh, I must have dreamt this 2 days ago, versus where sometimes you really do dream about somebody and then you see them 2 days ago, right? Where you like actively say to yourself after, I haven't seen that person in a long time. When you after you wake up and you somehow remember it, and then you see them, right? Like I always wondered, and there is no scientific basis for this, to be clear, but I've always thought, wouldn't it be cool if our dreams were our body's ways, other than of course resting, of where the subconscious mind is able to almost peer into alternate realities and beyond just what our desires and our subconscious minds are trying to tell us, but like literally there's someone out there, Cody, there's a version of you that has built that robot on that beach.
Ooh.
Man, if only I had that life.
Cody's like, don't tempt me, don't tease. I feel like that would be, a great novel or something.
Yeah.
People who could reach alternate realities in dreams.
Yeah.
It's also an idea for a game I've had for a while, incidentally, but yeah.
Interesting.
I have that where I have a friend who we don't often talk, but I usually get a dream right before they email me. It's very weird. Like I wake up and I check my email, and like I would say easily 9 out of the 10 times there's an email already waiting for me. And then on the 10th time, they'll email me later that day. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, and again, no scientific basis for any of this. Yeah, we're not dreamologists or anything like that. Although there are dreamologists out of there. No, they are.
Is that the actual term though?
I don't know.
I feel like dreamologist is something I would make up for my book.
No, well, the study of dreams, right? Dreams.
I'm sure there's a more technical name for dreams.
Probably.
Probably.
That's all. Yeah.
Again, we don't look things up before this podcast.
No, God.
No, we do very minimal. Very minimal research on purpose. Now, how about light switches? I've read where apparently there are no light switches in dreams.
Huh.
Have you ever noticed? Have you ever turned on a light switch in a dream?
Not that I can remember. I never turned on light switch.
Because I remember reading that, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever turned on a light switch in a dream. Because sometimes, you got to take things with a grain of salt always. Just because you read it or you hear it doesn't mean it's true, right? But
yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a light switch in my dream. I have seen,
I don't think I've seen
I believe like in the basement, like a pull chain.
I was going to say,
a pull
I've
chain
had
on a light bulb.
The pull chain one, yeah.
Rarely. Usually the lighting just kind of is either dark or light depending on the setting.
Yeah, it's whatever your dream needs it to be.
But yeah, it is. But I have, I believe, turned on like a pull chain light in a dream. But no, there's never been any light switches on the walls. Very interesting.
The worst is when you pull that chain and then there's bats.
I never had bats.
I thought you were going to say, and the chain was a snake.
Or I thought you were going to say it broke or like the ceiling came down or something.
Yeah.
So
something usually happens, and I'm like, when I see that pull chain, I'm just like, oh shit.
Well, mine is usually just a light. Sometimes the light doesn't work, but.
I will say though, in most of my dreams, there is never a chance for light switches to be used anyway,
or a reason.
If I'm in I've got this one reoccurring location that it's usually schools where it's basically the water dungeon from Legend of Zelda, but it's got lighting. It's got beautiful lighting, and they're just always lit. The odd dream where I wake up in my bedroom, it's almost never my actual bedroom. It's almost always like a bed and a nightstand and a dresser and stuff, but it's in the middle of a field in the woods.
Cool.
And this is just what my brain is like, that's your bed.
There is a bed.
Yeah. But there's like stunning lighting like strung up throughout all the trees, so I don't need a light switch.
Yeah, even if it's supposed to be darker, it's relatively well lit. So I guess it's always comforting to know that even if you're having a terrifying nightmare, it'll always be well lit.
Let's talk about, by the way, sleep paralysis. On that note, I get sleep paralysis a few times a year usually, and I had looked into it a while back, and most people only have to deal with it a few times in their life. I'm jealous.
Oh, I've dealt with it. I don't know if it's a few times a year. It really varies. But I've definitely dealt with it more than a handful of times in my life. It's sporadic, but it definitely happens, and it's not fun.
Nope. I've got memories of dealing with it from
I think when I was a kid,
elementary school, I think before I started grade school. I remember getting them. More recently, it was all stuff that happened in my around my I had rough 2016. A lot of anxiety from that. And there was a good few times in the year after that where I would wake up and there would either be a presence in the room or I would like picture some monster right in front of me just grinning. And with sleep paralysis, one of the places that because there's a sense of dread that comes with it. One of the locations that comes from is that you're not consciously aware that you can't move. But you can't, and that's just that mismatch throws you off. So I'll wake up. Sometimes my eyes are open, sometimes they're not, but it's like, I know something's there. I need to act. I need to do something. And the odd time where like, I'll wake up and I'm making direct eye contact with a monster and I'm like, move, do something. Why aren't you doing something? Do anything. And then my body will finally turn on and I throw myself out of bed, swinging for the fences at whatever was in front of me. And I wake up on the floor with my arm wrapped around my head. And like,
Wait, around your own head?
Oh yeah, like it'll be like I'll hit because well no, you jump out, you do like basically a haymaker swing, and you go wide, and you end up like this.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, when you see these things, like, you'll probably, I'm assuming, you're.
No, I'm just picturing Cody
you're going for a killer
putting
shot.
Yeah, like,
himself a headlock.
Yeah.
Just is very amusing to me.
Fine. Yeah. No, it's like picture, you get the sleeping dogs and cats where they're like they just start kind of like running.
Yeah.
And then their body finally completely kicks in and they jump to their feet and run into a wall. Like,
ouch.
It's
Poor
kind
guy.
of like that, but my bed's not near a wall, so
No.
I'm fine.
So you just punch the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never had that. I usually just, definitely, yeah. Like you wake up, and I wake up and I often, when this happens, again, it's not very frequent, but I often am conscious that I actually can't move and I try to move my body and I can't. And that is terrifying
Okay.
when your body will not respond to your commands.
Yep.
But yeah, there is often like a sense of dread or like a presence in the room kind of feeling until you fully wake up and I can't actually move. But yeah, I usually know I can't move and I hate that. But,
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if that's typical, but that's what happens to me often.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate because, essentially it's kind of a mismatch between your body and your brain, right? Because
Yeah,
it's just like, and everyone out there's going to hate me right now for saying this, it's like breathing, you do it automatically.
You monster.
Until somebody points out, right? And even now,
You're
I'm thinking,
breathing.
yeah. But when you go to sleep, your body essentially takes over all these commands, and it's like you have someone on autopilot, and I think I've spoken this before, I pretend like I have these little people in my head and they're like controlling levers and stuff. And then, it's like when someone, when they forget to when you forget to wake up on time, or if something like this happens, it's like someone fell asleep at the wheel and they forgot,
Right, yeah.
Someone's like, oh, okay, time to end the dream. And they end the dream, but then the person who's in charge of restoring your motor functions.
Like they're not at their desk yet.
No, they thought they had another 15 minutes and they're just not there yet.
Yeah, they're just out for a smoke break or something. Yeah.
Well, I've read that, again, I would have to look it up again, so don't quote me, but I believe I've read that you have sleep paralysis because when you are sleeping or when you are in REM sleep specifically, I can't talk, your body is kind of paralyzed so that you can't move. Like basically they do so that you can't hurt yourself like those dogs running into walls.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't act out your dreams.
But if you
right?
wake up too soon, like if you become conscious when your body thinks you're supposed to still be asleep, that's kind of when the sleep paralysis happens, I believe. So your body just hasn't actually switched on yet.
Kick back on, yeah.
Because it thought you were still in REM sleep and you needed to not move. So
Yeah.
you didn't say put yourself in a headlock, Cody.
No.
Yeah. That'd be a bad thing.
But REM sleep is super important because that's the stage in which our bodies and our minds. That's the part. It's almost as if it's playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever our minds are doing at the time, it needs that time to rest, to essentially analyze. It's almost as if the brain is like defragging. Like a hard drive
I was
would.
thinking of it, kind of like filing the
Yeah.
stuff that's happened to you recently. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to sort through all this junk that has happened to you so that we
Yeah.
can
Again,
file it in the
I
proper
picture little
place.
people in my head,
Yeah.
just like in like a giant library. You two can appreciate that.
I
giant
can
library.
picture a
And they're
giant
like,
library.
they're like, hey, did you see the Game of Thrones episode? Oh yeah, terrible. And they're just filing all these things, and it's like, things that made me sad, something cute that Cooper did, like podcast stuff over here.
And Andy Warhol, apparently, for Laura.
Yeah, Andy Warhol for Laura.
Andy Warhol. I was going to say, I to this day, I don't know if it was a really vivid dream. I don't know if it was a situation of sleep paralysis while I was still dreaming. But I actually found the journal entry, and I was doing some filing and sorting in my room, and I came across this journal that we kept in grade 2, and terrible spelling.
Okay.
But I was flipping through because it sort of triggered. I'm like, I think I wrote about a dream once, and sure enough, it's there, where I woke up and there was all these beautiful lights swirling around on my ceiling. Like, I have this incredibly vivid memory, and I wrote about it as if it actually happened in my journal. But and I don't know whether it was just like light coming in from the street in some weird whirly gig. But at some point everything just sort of goes dark, and I don't know whether it actually really happened or not. And there's sort of this very weird, disconcerting space where, like, did that happen? I mean, I have proof that I experienced this, but whether I actually experienced it versus did Dreamlore experience this,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, sometimes I'll like listen back to my dream recordings, and I'll like look through my dream journal, and I'm just like, wow, this is messed up.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like the basement dreams, I always find that there's a creepypasta out there / meme called the back rooms, and I always like ever since that this meme came out, I've been like a little obsessed with it, and I was just like, I just love that idea. It's like, oh wow, I wonder if I can get to the back rooms. You don't want to.
No, you never want to.
You never want to.
But
Yeah, but I just find it like interesting. It's like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who has these weird dreams.
interesting. You have to send that to me.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
will.
cool.
Yeah, I will. But what was the point I was trying to make with this?
Humanity, the shared human experience.
Yeah.
Back rooms.
No.
Back rooms in your head.
Yeah.
Specifically of back rooms. There are a lot of just consistent like worldwide dreams or thematic dreams that people have. Like the basement one.
Right, or like being chased is
Being
pretty
chased
common,
is super common. Teeth are like actually fairly common.
I've never
I've
had
never
Yeah.
had a tooth.
No.
tooth-
I-
tooth-
I've also
Well, get
never
ready.
Envy.
I've also
Yeah.
never taken a test in a dream or had no pants. Never happened.
I've never
Yeah.
had the no pants one.
Being unprepared for a test for me is always a thing.
No.
Yeah, but with the creepy pastas, I don't know. Like I ever since that came out, I've been listening to a lot of creepy pastas before bed.
Oh, because that's great. Are you trying to have more creepy dreams?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, right. You like the creepy dreams. Never mind.
I do. It's just nightmares again for me when you're losing someone, right? Like, yeah. I always picture dreams as a canvas where it's like an adventure that you can have, that you don't have to pay for.
I suppose that's true. I used to have when I worked evenings. I had this dream a couple times, though fortunately it has now since gone away, that I had locked my colleague. We have this like media cage that has like this like very cage-like door.
It's like when you're like locking like a mall store or something. If you've ever
Yeah.
seen them draw across the cage, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean there's totally like a space that you could easily get out of if it would take some engineering, but you could do it.
Pry it
Yeah.
open. You could get out if you really had to.
Yes. But I would dream that I had locked my coworker in this media cage, and when I came back the next day, he was like this mummified corpse, and I was so sad because he's a lovely human being.
What does it mean when you have recurring dreams that you killed your coworker?
Oh yeah. Dreams about work. That's actually, I find that to be the worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I will.
Especially if you have to go to the same job right when you wake up.
Yeah,
And you're
I
like,
will take having a bad dream about you three being murdered hideously over dreaming about going to work. Sorry, Cody.
Me too.
Well, I wouldn't. Just throwing that out there.
No, but
yeah.
really,
no, they're terrible. I've had those,
Yeah.
and when I was in college, I had schoolwork dreams, which are the same thing. And every time it's been like I'm in the middle of a really hard project,
Yeah.
and I'm stressed about it. And those are the most realistic dreams I ever have. Like I'll wake up and I am in like my home, and it is like down to the square inch identical to real life. And I will like go about my day, of like going to work, sitting at my desk, and I'll dream that I'm just working.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And then my alarm goes off and I wake up and I don't remember. So like the first time this happened in college, I actually went back to bed and then I woke up in the morning. I actually woke up, I think.
Are you
and
awake?
then, am I awake now? And then I went to school and opened up a project and there was a half second where I looked at the project and I'm like, did I not save all the work I did last night?
That's the worst when you've
Yeah.
written something incredible in your dream and you
Yeah.
wake up and you're like,
I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Yeah, it's like, no, I need paper. I need a pen. Like, oh God.
All right, that's all for today. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us today on Talkily for another cool discuss. Joining me today for Sleepy Time Dreams was Laura, Cody, and Mel. Intro-outro music was Illuminate by Ethan Rank, found on ArtList. All additional music also acquired through ArtList. All images and videos in our show were acquired through Pixabay. Podcasting services acquired through Spreaker. And if you enjoy the show and would like to support us, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Visit cooldiscuss.com, visit our merch store, or consider making a donation so we can continue to produce awesome content for you. Please keep in mind, we are just normal, everyday people talking about things we think we know something about. We are not experts on anything. Always take everything you read, see, or hear with a grain of salt. Never get all your information from only one place, and always be willing to question. This is AWC thanking you once again for joining us.